This is the Dark Shadow of Light, and you're watching my Let's Play of Sonic Heroes. In the last episode, we began the Super Hard Mode, and in this episode, we will continue the Super Hard Mode beginning in Power Plant. So the first thing you notice when beginning this stage is when we have yet more structure change. This is how Team Dark's version of this stage began, but those drones, or those flying robots there, didn't have spikes. I meant to go through the rings there, but that didn't work out, so, well. Now, up here are golden turtle robots, which means I'm going to have to use the tornado to flip them all over, flip them all over, and then use Power Formation to destroy them. Alternatively, I probably could have used Rocket Excel to turn them all upside down, but it didn't occur to me to do that, so, oh well. So, bit of a re-explanation of sorts, and I'm sure you guys don't really need it, but basically, the Super Hard Mode is a hardened version of the stages. It's a gauntlet of all the 14 stages, excluding stories, excluding plot scenes and bosses that you have to complete if you choose to. It's not necessary to complete, and in fact it only becomes available after you've done everything else in the game, so it's in no way necessary. It's just a means of challenging you if you feel that you need it. So, as I said, it's not necessary for the plot, so if you don't want to do it, then you don't have to. And you probably shouldn't do it if you're not very skilled at this game, as I said in the last episode. And of course you've noticed even yet more structure changes, and this was here for Team Dark story, but not Team Sonic's. And up here we have another structure similarity to Team Dark. I'm just going to use my Team Blast here to avoid wasting time destroying all of the monsters, or excuse me, the robots. I probably should have gotten that power core, but oh well, there will be more to get. And as you see, we're getting points in it, but as I said in the last episode, the amount of points you get during the Super Hard Mode stage doesn't matter. No, Sonic and Tails have this one. Now, I said it in the last episode that Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles are the main characters of multiple games in the Sonic series. It's not just them, wait, let me restate that. It's more Sonic and Tails than anything else, because ever since the original Sonic the Hedgehog 2, when Tails was introduced into the story, in most games, Tails has usually been seen following Sonic around. There's a little shortcut, it's not really a shortcut, it's just something you can do or a shorter route you can take. Now, up here, we won't find our path. Wait, is it this one or another one? I'll find out in a moment. Okay, never mind. Both of the elevators are present in this stage, and for this one we can go through the dash rings. But I'm not sure that was possible for this team during the story version of the stage. But in the second elevator, as you will see, we won't really be able to do that. So I don't really consider spoilers because it doesn't. Well, I'll explain. I'll fully explain my policy on spoilers later. Now, I could have jumped through those giant rings, but doing that there's a little risky as they're a bit awkwardly placed, and that they're basically placed in such a way that you might have a bit of trouble getting to them, and that didn't work out the way I thought it would, so I'll have to use Flower Formation. So those giant rings there, they're placed awkwardly, as I said, in such a way that you basically have to jump at pretty much the last second, and that can mess you up because it's possible for you to end up jumping off the path and missing the rings entirely. And even after you go through the giant rings, it's possible for you to, what am I saying? Yeah, it's possible for you to be basically propelled in the wrong direction. Now, it will probably, yeah, it will be faster for me to use my Team Blast here, so that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, so we're using the Team Blast, and here I'm going to use Lightspeed Attack, even though I don't really need to use it. But one thing, I'm not sure whether or not you've seen it with Team Sonic, but while the Team Blast gauge is running out, if Sonic is put into the air at all by either himself jumping or another team member launching him, he'll do light speed attack. So that basically means that you don't have to jump with him and press square to use light speed attack when the gauge is running out. You can use either Thunder Shoot or Fire Gun to propel him into the air. But I suppose you could say you have the most direct control over it if you do it. If you start from you started from speed formation. Now I missed the path of rings, so I have to go the long way down here. But fortunately, that's compensated for by this spring taking us up here. But I went and screwed up again, so you'll have to excuse me for that. No, I could waste some time taking care of that turtle robot, but I don't have to do that since I destroyed the upper enemies and opened the passage, the upper platforms. Now, here's the second elevator. When we were on the first one a couple, or maybe a few minutes ago, I said that the dash rings on this one wouldn't take us in such a way that we would be able to get from one to the next. So that's why you see I'm skipping them right now. And here, there are more enemies blocking the elevator, and this happens twice on the path here. So what you're about to see is, you see here we have these enemies here, but there are a few that aren't immediately visible and only become visible until when you approach them. So definitely want to be careful, and of course these fireballs being placed. These fireballs being placed in the way that they are doesn't exactly help. That last dash ring there takes you to the next one that you can use to save some time. And we're approaching the end of the stage. All we have to do is basically the giant sphere, and then we just have to go through the final segment of the stage. And this is one of the longer stages of the game, so it can easily take you between 7 and 9 minutes to finish, especially depending on your skill level. So here I use Team Blast. Fortunately, this wide spring here, after we hit all the springs, will give us another Team Blast. So we'll easily get it back. Now, it's a good thing we do get this too, because upcoming is a part that can be a little awkward without the Team Blast. And there's a one-up that you saw, and I said in the last episode that you would find them in some places, and you should take full advantage of getting them when they appear. Now, because I got hit in speed formation and couldn't do the homing attack, I'm going to have to use Tails to get through this part. I would have done this faster by going through it in speed formation. Now here you have to be careful. You have to destroy all of the enemies, but this last one here is metal plated, so destroying it will be harder. It can waste your time and cause you to mess this up and end up losing life. And as I said in the last episode, you can't afford to be losing lives in super hard mode. Because what I forgot to mention in the last episode is that if you lose all of your lives in super hard mode, you have to start over all the way from the beginning. Now, I intended to land without getting hit, but oh well. I'm going to use Team Blast anyway. This is what I mentioned a few moments ago about the awkward part without the Team Blast. The part that would be awkward without the Team Blast, because you have those guys firing upon you as soon as you arrive, and if you don't have any rings, by that point you will lose a life, or it's highly possible you will lose a life. And as I said before we were interrupted by those guys, if you lose all of your lives if you lose all your lives in the super hard mode, you basically have to restart the entire super hard mode regardless of what stage you were on. So let's say if I lost all of my lives in this stage, I'd have to restart the entire super hard gauntlet from Seaside Hill. And the further you get in super hard mode, the less convenient that will get. So you'll definitely want to avoid losing lives in super hard mode. I'm probably going to have to end up doing some editing for this stage, because as we've seen in the story, I'm so good at the pinball segments of this stage and the next. Now we already have a power core for Knuckles, which will makes this slightly easier. Now this would have been faster if I'd simply jumped down. And I'm going to use the tornado here, and easily destroy these two guys with power formation. As you guys have seen, my method for destroying enemies usually usually I use power formation until my speed formation gets leveled. And getting hit twice there only managed to lose some time. Good thing I collected rings before I got hit the second time. Otherwise, I would have ended up losing a life. So we have two power cores for Tails, one for Knuckles, none for Sonic yet. That will change. Now, we're up out the pinball. And if I have to make an edit, you'll see that. Because I'm not very good with the it's not that I'm not good, it's just sometimes when I'm on these pinball tables I can end up having to I can spend longer than I should on these things because how I get caught. So I might see you in a moment. Okay, as I said, I made an edit. Excuse me. As I said I would, as I said I might have to, I made an edit because it took me a long time to get along the pinball table, so I'm not going to bother showing that. And I just lost all my rings. Good thing Fly Formation is level 3, so that I can good thing Fly Formation is level 3, so I can just use Thunder Shoot to get my rings quickly. Now getting hit just managed to it took some time off, but you know, what are you going to do, I guess. So, another thing I'm not the best at is hitting those targets. I'm not bad at hitting the targets, just sometimes you're better than others, and other times are worse than some, so I know that didn't exactly make any sense, but oh well. So as I said, not very, sometimes these pinball segments can really delay me, and I lost Sonic and Knuckles. But that's good. I mean, it's not good, I mean, that's okay because I got them back, so probably should have just used speed formation to turn this guy over first, or just skipped him entirely. No, here we don't have the dice that were here like there were in the story mode. Instead, we have these orbs. I don't know what they're called, but I'm still going to use that shortcut. I probably should have started a tiny bit earlier, but here I don't know how that happened. I was able to be propelled up here, or propelled in such a way that I was able to get here. So fortunately, those guys didn't take too long. Now, if you don't see the switches, you might not, but they're here. It's easy to overlook them and spend time looking for them if you don't know where they are. So here is here are enemies. Now what I probably could and should have done is I probably should have activated the switches, then used Team Blast on those turtles, and then come down here and use light speed attack. But I didn't do that, so yeah. Now there might be a one-up in that little room there, but oh well. Yeah, this part here, probably the most challenging of the entire stage. Basically, the best course of action is to have use homing attack, and preferably be either level 2 or 3 with Sonic, so that you can you can do that faster. Once again, I'm going to make an edit that you will have seen by this time because that took me ridiculously long, even longer than it did in the story, and that's saying something. It took, I don't even know, pretty close to about 2 minutes. You'll probably know how long that took if you compare the times, before and after the transition, but the point is, I took longer than I should have, and so I'll be editing that out. And up here there are not one, but 2 switches. One is on the left, and the other's on the right. And here are the, excuse me, if I could just get the switch, that would be nice. Yeah, get the switch, nice, okay. And in here we have 5 enemies, but none of them are shielded, and you would think that they would be, but that's not the case here. Now, I could have had this done in possibly less than 5 minutes, or between 5 and 6 minutes, but because I took so long on those pinball segments, I didn't, so, oh well. So, up here, we're coming to the end of the stage, and down here we have enemies. I'm going to use Team Blast to get rid of them, and then I'll get the goal ring. So that will be the end of this stage, and then I will show Bingo Highway, and that'll be it for this episode. As I said, I'm going to show three super hard stages per video until we get this Egg Fleet and Final Fortress, and I'll just show those two in their own video. Consequently, though, that video might be shorter because we're doing 2 stages as opposed to 3, even if those 2 stages might be longer. But now we're doing Bingo Highway. Now, the change they made to super hard mode is that they put enemies on this board on these boards similar to how they were in Team Dark Story, so it is possible for you to get damaged while doing this on these pinball segments. So you'll definitely want rings, and I'm not sure if there are barriers available in this stage, but you'll definitely want rings. If you don't have rings while getting on the pin, let me restate that. Getting on pinball boards without rings in the stage is risky because you can take damage and end up losing a life. Now, I'm not going to bother fighting these enemies, I'm just going to skip them. They don't really do anything, they just open the path, they just open a cage containing 20 rings, or I think that was 20, I'm not sure. But oh well. So, you'll definitely, as I said, you'll definitely want to get rings. You'll definitely want to have rings before you get on the pinball, the bingo boards.
We're not going there, are we? Yes, we are.
Oh, excuse me for a moment. I might have to. Excuse me.
There's bingo on the table.
So,
Fun is just
I don't think I've gotten a perfect bingo in this Let's Play, and I'm not going to. Because I've never really bothered with bingo. Wait a minute. I'm pretty sure that I did get perfect bingo while with Team Chaotix, but I'm not sure about that. Basically, yeah, I'm not really much into bingo or gambling really, so I just tend to skip that. And again, I'm going to make an edit because it took me a long time to do to get rid of that to get past those guys because mostly because I kept taking damage because they were spiked robots. Those were spiked robots, and they could have been normal robots and that would have been easier, but nope. The point of super hard mode is not to be easy, it's to be challenging. And that's understandable, of course. I mean, it wouldn't be called super hard mode otherwise. So here are dice, and you've seen lots of structure changes. Be prepared to see a lot more because we'll be seeing a lot more as we continue the super hard mode. And up here, you know, we had those robots on the sides, so you'll definitely want to keep the character you're controlling towards the middle for that little segment there.
We're counting on you.
Yes, we're going to count on you, Knuckles. Get rid of these guys. So basically, up ahead for this fin, you have to pull out the switch with either speed or power formation. You don't have to bother destroying the enemy, so if you don't want to waste your time, then don't bother. As in the story for Team Dark and Team Sonic, you can use you can use the light dash there. Going to use Team Blast there. Now, I'm not sure whether or not I mentioned this in the Let's Play, but if you access to any of your team members is cut off because they've been captured or they fall or whatever, Team Blast will instantly restore all of your team members, but it's not available in all places such as these. You won't be able to use Team Blast while on the bingo board, which is understandable as none of them are really steady. They gotta keep moving while on these boards. Yep, I just lost both Sonic and Knuckles again, so I'll have to get to the end of this pinball segment without falling, or else I'll lose a life. And I said it before, I'll say it again, you don't want to lose lives in super hard mode. So down here, just go through this giant tube, and you'll come down here to where, excuse me, you come down here to where you destroy the robots, and then open the, which will open the cage, which you can use to activate the switch. But I probably could have done that faster without getting the switch. Now, yeah, I really don't have to destroy all of these enemies, but that's what I do anyway, because as I explained in the last episode, I just feel inclined to fight. And as you saw, those boards on those orbs on the side, which I'm going to have to use to progress in the stage. Didn't have to do that because these were over there, closer to the wall in the story mode. But again, they decided to challenge you, and that's what they did. They decided to challenge you, so that's what they did. So upcoming is a place with a lot of enemies, followed by the final bingo board segment of this. So the final bingo board and final segment of the stage. So I'm just going to use Team Blast for one last time and avoid wasting time, because I could use Power Formation to smash with the glass, but that would just be a waste of time. And there's a power core, even though I don't really need it. Now, instead of there being a spring down here, you have to pull out the switches, which will unlock the cage to the spring that you have to use to get up to the bingo board segment. Now, of course, as you saw, I made an edit because this is my, if I'm correct, my second attempt trying to get past this part, because I ended up falling off. So a little trick you want to use before you get to this part is you'll want to go in with only one or two, preferably only one character. So if that character falls off your other character, you'll switch to another formation character at the beginning, and you'll be able to restart. Yeah, it can be inconvenient having to start all the way from the beginning of this segment, but it's better than falling off with all three of your characters and losing a life. So, yeah. Now I'm going to try to show something that I didn't show before up to this Let's Play. This will be pretty much my last opportunity, as I don't really feel like going back to do any re-recording. Something, yeah, I got it, so I'll be able to show it to you guys. Something called Aerial Bingo. It's only available on this part of the stage. You'll be launched to a great height. You'll have to fall down in the circular motion, sort of, and get as many of these cards, I think they're called, number gates, as possible. So that concludes this episode of my Let's Play of Sonic Heroes. In the next episode, we'll continue Team Sonic Super Hard Mode, beginning with Rail Canyon. This has been the Dark Shadow of Light, and I will see you all in time.